The thing is, if you're thinking about how to pay a dropshipping supplier, you might be thinking, well, this is a very trivial question, but it's not. It's more complicated than you can think because there are a lot of scammers in this industry and people are trying to take advantage of dropshipping newbies and even dropshipping veterans also, okay? And so here is an overview I really want you to have in mind before we even get into the nitty gritty. So if you are on a tight budget, then you have probably wondered if it's possible to pay your dropshipping supplier directly using your customer's payment, right? In other words, a customer places an order in your store and you route the order to the dropshipping supplier, but the customer has to prepay the order. So you take that money, at least you take a part of it, and you use that cash to actually pay your dropshipping supplier. So basically, you are dropshipping with the no money of your own. Okay. Now the thing you need to understand here is that it is possible, but you have to find the right dropshipping supplier. Because the thing here is that the advantages of this strategy are that you wouldn't have to pay for your supplier's products out of your own pocket. Now, one thing I want to say here is that can you actually pay a dropshipping supplier using a customer's payment? And how does your customer's money end up in your supplier's pockets? And sometimes, and we have other questions that we have actually gotten as we were preparing for this show. How long does it take to process a customer's payment? Okay, and what are the steps that are needed to pay your supplier or other expenses? So it's really important to have a clear idea about all these things. This is what I'm going to talk about today. But one thing I want to say here is that no matter what people tell you, don't ever believe the whole thing about going into a business, into a dropshipping business, or any business for that matter, and say, you know what, I'm not going to have a skin in the game. Like, in other words, I don't need to have any money. I'm just going to get out of this like unscathed, so to speak. No, you need to have skin in the game. You need to have some kind of money. Don't listen to people trying to razzle dazzle you, telling you can actually do this without actually risking anything. It doesn't work that way. Because I want to bring your expectations a little down before I go into the nitty gritty here, okay? Because I think it was important because we do get those questions. A lot of people ask us, can I just do drop shipping like, in the cashless mode? No, you cannot. So now let's quickly actually get into the nitty gritty here. By the way, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate having you here. And I just love having this sort of convo around dropshipping, how to pay a dropshipping supplier, how to order a dropshipping sample, how to get those things done so that you are offering to your customer a higher quality products when it comes to the dropshipping product they ordered. Okay, so here is the approach I really want you to take. So do you have to buy the products first to dropship? This is really important. So now this is an interesting question. Well, one thing we have seen in our research is that you don't have to buy the products first to dropship. This is based on our experience for the last 10 years. So dropshipping is all about the concept of your dropshipping supplier holding and owning the products you are selling, right? This means that when dropshipping, you will buy products from your supplier one by one, but only if you get orders for them. In other words, if you decide to switch products or stop with your online business, you will not be left with a lot of products in stock that you can't sell. So the answer to that question is you don't have to buy the products first to dropship. You don't have to. And the question is, who pays for shipping in dropshipping? This is an ancillary question that a lot of dropshippers, they really want to understand also. Well, the thing here is that when dropshipping, the products you sell will have to be shipped from your supplier's warehouse to your customer's address. As you know, shipping a product is not free, so someone will have to pay for it. But who? Well, often you, the dropshipper, will have to pay for this shipping cost. The cost of shipping will depend on the destination of the package, its size, and its weight. Sometimes your supplier will offer free shipping. However, in that case, they have simply added the shipping cost to the product's price. Remember, shipping is never truly free. Okay, and you as the dropshipping supplier, listen to me right now. You should be paying the shipping fee. You know why? Because you are actually it's your dropshipping company. The dropshipper is working for you. It's like you have outsourced the manufacturing, shipping, and storage of your products to a third party. but you are still the one responsible because you are the one who is collecting the full price that the customer is paying you. You are the one at having the fat profit margins. So you are the one who should be eating the shipping cost, unless you specify otherwise in the shipping policy where you're telling the clients, hey, listen, shipping is not free. Shipping is priced separately. So here are the steps I really want you to really pay attention to. Here are the steps. But before I talk about the steps, let me sort of remind you of today's topic, okay? Because it's important that we contextualize the conversation we're having here. So the topic is, how do you pay a dropshipping supplier for their products? Okay, now let's talk about the payment processing. So when dropshipping, one of the things you will need is a way to easily transfer money from your customers' pockets to all parties that are involved, including you, right? So you have payment gateways. So those are companies that do exactly this. So they transfer money. So they can send money from one person's account to another person's account. So when it comes to dropshipping, you cannot do anything without payment processing companies, okay? They are needed when dropshipping because normally your customer will not be paying you in cash, right? So when a customer proceeds to check out in your online store, he or she will often have to choose between several payment options. So these are offered by payment gateways companies. So payment gateways companies for dropshipping are businesses that can be a little complicated in terms of how they operate. And because different countries have different preferred payment methods. Not all payment gateways accept dropshipping businesses. Some payment gateways may hold your money for a prolonged amount of time if they see you as a high-risk client. And each payment gateway has different processing times and transaction fees. Okay, so let me just share with you a few payment gateways. So we have Shopify payments. So the money will be sent after an order to your bank account. For PayPal, the money will be sent to your PayPal wallet after an order. For Stripe, the money will be sent to your bank account after an order. For Amazon Pay, the money will be sent to your Amazon Pay account after an order. For Google Pay, the money will be sent to your Google Pay balance after an order. For Apple Pay, the money will be sent to your Apple Pay account after an order. For crypto payments, the money will be sent after an order to your cryptocurrency wallet. So those are really things you need to pay attention to. And so one thing I want to say here is that you have to be really clear. You have to understand the mechanisms here, because that's going to help you understand how you get paid and how you can pay your dropshipping supplier real fast. So speaking of paying your dropshipping supplier, let's really have a conversation with that. So how do you actually pay your dropshipping supplier? So once you have received an order from your customer, you will need to purchase your customer's products from your dropshipping supplier. Okay, and it's important to understand that where the money is deposited depends on the dropshipping supplier, as I just showed you. Okay, it's really important to understand that. However, eventually, each payment will end up in your bank account. In other words, it's not possible to let your payment gateway automatically send a part of the payments directly to your supplier. So considering that you will want to minimize your store's delivery time as much as possible, it is not advised to wait until your customer's payment has reached your bank account before ordering the products from your supplier. So depending on the payment gateway, it can take 2 to 5 business days before your customer's payment gets deposited into your bank account. And sometimes it can take even longer. That's why originally I was just telling you, you don't start a business with no money. Because what I'm trying to say here is that if your customer pays for, let's say your customer pays for an order, pays for a product, and actually clears you $100, it's taking 5 days for you to get that money. In the meantime, you need to have that $100 yourself already, so that you can actually pay your supplier right away, maybe $50, so that by the time the money reaches your bank account, you have already placed the order and the order is in process. Remember, when you place an order, there is a time called the processing fee, the processing time. So there is a time for processing the order, and there's a time for shipping the order. So you have those two elements that are really important. Okay, and it's important to understand that you can pay your dropshipping supplier using other methods. For example, when we talk about Spockets, you can pay your supplier through credit card, PayPal, or Shopify app. If you use US Direct, you can pay by credit card. If you use Salehu, you can pay by credit card or PayPal. If you use Sunrise Wholesale, you can pay through credit card. If you use Wholesale to Be, you can pay by credit card or PayPal. If you use Dropcommerce, you can pay by credit card or Shopify app. If you use Supplier's data, you can pay by PayPal. If you use Worldwide Brands, you can use by credit card or PayPal. So you do have a constellation of a dropshipping suppliers there, but it's usually a credit card, debit card, or PayPal to actually pay them. Okay, but again, it's really important to really understand that in some cases they might actually accept virtual cards also. Now let's talk about paying your other business expenses. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. What are we talking about? We're having a convo about how do you pay a dropshipping supplier for their products, okay? But now I want to talk about the ancillary expenses that you need to really pay attention to also, because when you are running a dropshipping business, you're not just thinking about buying for what we call the cost of goods sold, right? This is not about the actual manufacturing and shipping of the products. You have other things to do. You have a business to run. So once you have ordered the required products from your dropshipping supplier, you will also need to reserve some funds for your other business expenses. And a common error that we have seen in our research is that beginner dropshippers, they underestimate these other business expenses. So when looking at each expense separately, it may look like it's not that expensive. However, when looking at the whole picture, especially this is where granularity plays an important role. This is where comprehensiveness plays an important role. You can see that very clearly. Costs can add up very, very, very quickly, boss. Very quickly. Let me actually give you a few everyday things that, if you run a dropshipping store, you will need to have a budgeted for. You need to have some cash for. For example, the e-commerce platform. If you're using Shopify, you have to pay them. If you're using Squarespace, you have to pay them. If you're using BigCommerce, you have to pay them. If you're using WooCommerce, you have to pay them. Whatever you're using, if you're using Square, you have to pay them. If you're using Wix, you have to pay them. Okay. What about the apps? Those apps that help you actually run a very smooth business, you have to pay them. And your app budget can go up really quickly. I mean, it's kind of funny how things can really be really fast. What about the domain name? You have to pay for that. You have to pay for paid advertising, PPC, all those things. Okay, CPC, PPC, dropshipping supplier monthly subscription. Those are really important. I mean, of course, you can use a free supplier, and it's not really. Nothing is free in this world, really. If you want quality, just pay for it. Okay. You also need to think about transaction fees. Those are important also. Transaction fees are important, and also taxes. Okay. So this is really important. Now let's talk about what to actually, how do you actually reinvest your profits, right? So basically, you actually have paid, like the client has paid you. Okay, the client has paid you. The client has made their part of the bargain. They're taking care of the part of the bargain. They send you the money. You took part of it to actually pay the dropshipping supplier. You actually are taking care of your other overhead that I just listed. Okay. So what do you do with the dropshipping profit? Well, the thing is that the money is actually in your bank account right now, right? So you are profitable. This is really good. Now, the thing is, if you're not profitable after paying all your expenses, then please do not give up. The beginning of everything can be complicated. Things that are worth waiting for take time, okay? The thing is, you want to think about strategy. Think about strategizing, okay? There are many things you can optimize to minimize your expenses and maximize your revenue. You can think about, for example, your pricing strategy. You can think about your conversion rate optimization. You can think about how to get free traffic to your dropshipping store. So this means that you're going to have to be creative here. You're going to have to think outside the box. Well, in terms of dropshipping pricing strategy, you have to ask yourself, are you pricing your products too high? Are you pricing too low? What about shipping? Okay. Should you offer free shipping to customers? Because we know that from our research that when it comes to dropshipping and e-commerce in general. When customers love it. Customers love it when a store is actually giving them free shipping. Okay, I mean, if you don't believe me, go ask Amazon. Okay, and so what about Shopify dropshipping conversion rate optimization? The thing is, you got to think about the best way to actually boost your CRO, whether through sales, through a complete reorganization of your sales funnel. This is really important, or also your landing page strategy. Also, you got to think about how to get free traffic, whether through organic traffic, through better SEO, so search engine optimization. So, boss, what I'm trying to tell you here is that don't actually give up. But again, you have to be profitable. And if you're not profitable, this is what you have to do, among other things. But if you are profitable, you need to reinvest the cash into the business. This is really important. Let's have another conversation. I want to talk to you about, do you need a bank account for dropshipping? This is an important question and here, again, I'm giving you a few pro tips here. Okay. Do you need a bank account for dropshipping? Well, you have seen what I've told you. You don't need a bank account for dropshipping. Okay. When dropshipping, you will need a bank account to manage your cash flow. You need it to pay your dropshipping supplier, receive payments from your customers, pay your business expenses, and more. But you can have a PayPal account. Now, PayPal account is true that requires you to have a bank account, but there are other configurations where you can actually use PayPal as a bank account itself. Okay, and a lot of dropshippers are doing it now. So it is possible in some cases, but it's not possible in other cases. And so, how do you approach a supplier about dropshipping? It's important that we have said this before, that and here is the bonus. This is a bonus for you. Okay. A bonus for you, because we're talking about paying for their products. But if you have a brand new supplier and you're thinking about, hey, listen, I would like to order a product sample. How do you approach them? Well, we have another video about that. But the bottom line here is that don't have a long email. No. You basically want to approach with a very simple sentence like, hi, I would like to do drop shipping, and here are my products that I'm interested in. Here is where my target audience is. Would you be interested? It's always important to be short and sweet and straight to the point when you actually contact a dropshipping supplier for the first time, so they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And one thing I also want to say here is that once you actually have passed that initial contact, make sure you probe them about their delivery times, their packaging, and pricing. Okay, it's really important to understand, because we have actually covered this on another show, and it's one of those things where you want to be in a situation where you are constantly building a relationship with your dropshipping supplier. Okay, it's not about just a one-time thing. This is not a one-time deal. It is something that should be going on for a long time. And this is what you need to put yourself in the spirit of a marathon runner, not a sprinter. You're not running 100 meters here. No, you're running 42K. You're running 26.1 miles. Okay, it's a long-term thing. But if you have the right partners, if you have the right relationship, you're going to go really far, which is what we should be aiming for. Okay, so bottom line here is, if you want to pay a dropshipping supplier for their products, you do have several ways to do so, but you don't have to pay them before the order is placed. No, everything starts as soon as a customer places an order. You're not paying them for anything beforehand. You're not holding inventory. You're not really, no, none of that. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how do you pay a dropshipping supplier for their products. I explained to you who pays for shipping and dropshipping, things about the payment processing, paying your dropshipping supplier, paying your other business expenses, keeping anything that's left over, okay? And also whether or not you need a bank account for dropshipping. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.